The hardest part of garden design for many people is actually just getting started. What do you think about? Where do you begin? What questions do you ask? Hello, my name is Rachel, and I founded PlantPlots.com, a garden design and advice website for beginner gardeners everywhere. So I'm going to show you in a short video how we start by planning the garden around the best place to sit. Then we make shapes, not garden borders. And we don't follow the fence lines and hide the boundaries because this will also help your garden feel a little bit bigger. The first main rule in any small garden is that we need to plan the garden around the best place to sit. Now, seeing as the neighbours have already got a patio at the end of the garden, you'd assume that the nicest part here is going to be the same place. So we're going to design our garden around a patio at the end. We'll come on to then rule 2, which is about not making borders, but make shapes instead. A common design problem that people fall into is that having made the patio, they think, right, we'll put the borders in down here because we want to hide the fence on this left-hand side of the garden and maybe have a nice undulating border to give it as a natural feel. Then we'll mirror that border on the right-hand side and plant those up because we want to hide the fences. But what are we creating? Well, I think you can see if I just change the colour of the pen, what we've actually created here is a very odd shaped lawn. And seeing as that is the largest visual element that this garden will have, creating borders and making the lawn fit the shape of the border is the wrong way round. We need to create the shape and then the borders are simply the spaces left over. So in this instance, I've already created a shape, and because this garden is very rectangular and is full of straight lines, we've decided to use curves, and I've angled the lawn towards the fence. So we'll need to put something nice on this fence to look at as well at this point here. The garden will need to have a path because I've got to access from the patio at the front near the house up to the paving at the end. And it's got to be all weather. So in this case, maybe some simple stepping stones through the garden will help. So then we've got to get onto step 3 and step 4. We've designed it around the best place to sit and we've made a big shape. The lawn now feels a little wider because I've taken it right up to the edge of the fence here. It's made the garden feel a bit wider already. So if I take out now the lawn and we put in the paving and the border shape, we get on to rule number 3. And that's about not following the fence lines. If I had created a garden where I put the borders in that ran parallel to the fences, all I'm going to be doing is creating a shape that mirrors the boundary. But because the boundary is at eye level, I'm then going to effectively put that boundary down at ground level and just reinforces the shape and the narrowness of this garden. I'm saying, here's the boundary at eye level, and here's the same boundary down at your feet. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to follow the fence lines. But the last of this 4 rules applying to this garden here is that we also don't want to see all of the fences all of the time. Now in this instance here, because I've angled the lawn over, I'm going to put a decorative, attractive feature on this fence here. It could be a trellis, could be some wall art, but in this case we could grow a really attractive climber over the fence here. I also need to create height above the fence line on the left-hand fence, because let's face it, it's not the most attractive feature in this garden. It's very orange. So we want to try and hide some of it. But if we cloak all of the fences all of the time, all we actually do is close ourselves in. We create a big green prison wall effectively around our garden. So what we're trying to do is break up the line of the fence, hide it some way by reducing its visual impact. So a couple of trees can go in these slightly deeper borders that we've created here. And if I add some planting in, you can see how very easily we've made the narrow garden feel wider just with following those 4 simple rules, which is to plan the garden around where you want to sit, to make shapes, not borders, don't follow the fence line, and then hide some of the fences some of the time. And then we'll get on to rule 5. Garden paths are essential, but let's face it, they're not terribly beautiful. So if the only destination for your garden path is the shed, that's what you're going to notice the most. So either have something beautiful that you arrive at before you get to the shed, or have an indirect route to the shed. In any small garden, all of the plants need to work hard. So if you only buy a plant because it has a pretty flower, then it will only give you maximum enjoyment for a few short weeks of the year. You need the plants to do more for you. I bet you noticed the plants on the fence rather than the ones on the floor first. This is because when we walk around, we look at eye level. We don't look down at our feet. So whenever you're going to plan a planting scheme, start at eye level space first. Fill that 3-dimensional space with something beautiful, and then you work down to ground level. Garden design can sometimes feel quite overwhelming and difficult to know where to even begin. So the purpose of this video is to help you have a plan to just get you started, to get you on the thought process, so that you can look at your garden and begin to ask some simple questions and follow some simple rules. This will help you begin the planning process. And then creating the design is about making sure that the functional elements of the garden aren't unattractive, that you understand how you can disguise and hide those essential elements. But don't forget, gardens are about how they make you feel. And if you only put plants in the garden that have a very limited appeal, your small garden isn't going to work hard enough for you. You need plants and flowers to do more. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful. We've got lots more advice on the website, plantplots.com. It's packed with garden design advice, with planting ideas, and helpful hints to help you make your garden better. And please, do hit the subscribe now button. Thank you for watching.